While Joe Biden is raising money from DuPont lobbyists and DuPont attorneys and Wall Street lawyers and a who's who of the scum of America and the attorney for Martin Shkreli, who's price gouging life-saving HIV drugs, among other things. Corporate media is trying to attack Bernie Sanders and try and make our revolution comparable to the super PACs raising money for Joe Biden. I'm not even going to bother reading you this ridiculous New York Times story, but the New York Times is now calling our revolution, excuse me, I correct myself. The Associated Press wrote this, the New York Times reprinted it. They're calling our revolution a super PAC for Bernie Sanders and trying to point it out, trying to make it seem that Bernie Sanders is a hypocrite. He's against super PACs, but he has his own hypocrite. He has his own super PAC. So first of all, to be consistent, some of you might not like this, but I got to keep it real. I do find one thing about our revolution troubling. As far as I could see, they do not disclose, or they haven't disclosed in a while, who their top donors are. They do not disclose that, and that is wrong. That was a complaint, if you remember, in 2016, and a lot of people in leadership at our revolution resigned in the beginning because our revolution set themselves up where they wouldn't disclose who their top donors were. I don't have any reason, based on Bernie Sanders' record, to believe that there is, the Koch brothers are giving money to our revolution and our revolution is trying to hide it. I have no reason to believe that, the same scum showing up at Joe Biden's events are funding our revolution. I have no reason to believe that. But you got to be consistent. I can't attack dark money on other candidates and then be like, it's fine for Bernie Sanders. So I think our revolution should disclose who's funding it. Putting that aside, the Associated Press is comparing our revolution, which in that article it said the average donation is $20, to Joe Biden's super PAC, to the people in the wine caves giving money to Pete Buttigieg. By the way, Bernie Sanders, other than founding our revolution, doesn't have any involvement with our revolution. I think he was on a call last year to celebrate their 3rd year anniversary, but that's it. He has no day-to-day involvement with it. Secondly, our revolution, it promotes Bernie's campaign online and things like that, but our revolution our revolution doesn't do commercials in Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada and California and South Carolina for Bernie Sanders. It's absurd, this comparison. But they're trying anything to hang around Bernie Sanders' head. And I told you, I do think they should release who their donors are. I don't think there's anything that they're hiding. But you got to be consistent. We can't be progressive and criticize dark money elsewhere, but not walk the walk ourselves. But this story is such ridiculous bullshit. There is no comparison. There's no equal footing. There's no equal anything. But this is what the corporate media is trying to do. And that gem, and I told you when these nice articles were coming out about Bernie, when the New York Times started saying Bernie's going to be tough to beat, when Politico said, Bernie's getting people worried, he might win, CNN just did a piece, Bernie Sanders could win this thing. I warned you. This is the niceties before they drop the last bombs. Fears of Sanders' win growing among the Democratic establishment. I'll read you the first. Increasingly alarmed that Bernie Sanders should become their party's presidential nominee, establishment-minded Democrats are warning primary voters that the self-described Democratic Socialists would struggle to defeat President Donald Trump and hurt the party's chances in premier House, Senate, and governor's races. The urgent warnings come as Sanders shows new signs of strength on the ground in the first 2 states on the presidential primary calendar, Iowa and New Hampshire, backed by a dominant fundraising operation. The Vermont senator has largely escaped close scrutiny over the last year. I'm not going to read the rest. You know what's amazing to me? First of all, what planet do these people live in that Bernie Sanders has largely avoided scrutiny in the last year? Bernie Sanders has been the most scrutinized politician in the United Corporations of America for the last 4 years. More than Barack Obama, more than Hillary Clinton. That's a fact. All you got to do is go to the Washington Post to look. So this idea that he hasn't been scrutinized, that he hasn't faced critical coverage, it's like Kellyanne Conway's alternative facts. That's number one. Number two, can I ask a question? Why is the Associated Press, why is Politico, why are all these places writing stories about what the political Democratic establishment thinks when the political Democratic establishment is a bunch of f***ing losers? When the political Democratic establishment lost to an orange orangutan. When the political Democratic establishment told us Al Gore's more electable. When the political Democratic establishment told us John Kerry's more electable. When the political Democratic establishment told us Hillary Clinton's the most electable. Who the f*** cares what Democratic Party insiders think? They don't understand what the actual pulse of America is. Who cares? Why do they write these stories? Why do they wax poetic? Oh, the establishment is so concerned. Because the corporate media is part of that establishment. They are at the same exact events with these swine. They trade access for puff pieces like that from the Associated Press. I don't give a damn what David Brock thinks. I don't even know if he was quoted in that piece. I don't give a damn what Neera Tanden thinks. I don't give a damn what any of them thinks. Nobody should. In a sane society, they would be forced to exit the building. They lost to a reality TV star used car salesman. Not only is it a disgrace that they lost, it's a disgrace that it was even close to begin with. George Carlin famously said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.